This video is brought to you by Manscaped. More about them at the end of the video.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever had to answer.
I'm going to say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. Welcome back, everybody, to Big Apple Hockey Bar Talk, where we are gauging our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. And today, it's only New York Rangers topics, except there is one bonus one. So stay tuned for that one. Play along down in the comments. Are you buying around? Are you just so you having a beer? Or, I just need a shot. This is terrible. So once again, guys, Big Apple Hockey trucker hats are in. Red and white are both available. They're on the eBay link below. Still got about 7 of the blues and I think 7 of the whites. So click it on in. Like I said, I'll throw in a sticker in there too. But Phil, we were talking about him in the first segment, and that is a guy you say potentially could be disappointing. Vinny Trocheck should not be Artemi Panarin's center.
I'm going to have to say shot to this, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, but I'm going to buy a round of shots on this one, actually. Because, listen, I know what I said about Trocheck and how it could be disappointing, but you know what? Chemistry is not something that develops overnight.
Phil, I've been beating this drum all summer long. I'm buying around on this. The reason why is I think Trocheck's game, especially if he's more of a defensive player than Ryan Strome ever was. Yes, we were talking about him before. This is his stat line right here. It's this was a late edition, so I don't have all the stats right here. That's why I got to say it out loud. 21 goals, 30 assists, 51 points, plus 21 last year with the Carolina Hurricanes. I think the New York Rangers benefit if they split them up and throw, let's say, Hedl over with Panarin, because Panarin will do all the dirty work for the center, and then just Hedl has to find open space and put it in. Now, I think this is where Vitaly Kravtsov benefits if Hedl's there, because then he's able to be another passer to get him the open shot. And then that's probably where the best game is. If it ends up being Vinny Trocheck, that's where I see a guy like Sammy Blais jumping up to the second line. And we all don't want that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because again, as excited I was that Sammy Blais was potentially coming back in Game 6, when I heard Kakko got scratched, I said, uh-oh. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great hockey content and an entertaining interactive podcast. So check us out and our library of videos. To a guy who was an all-star last season, and we saw him in Vegas, Phil. Chris Kreider will score 40 goals again this season.
I'm going to say beer, because I could see it happening. I don't see 50 again, but I can see 40, because he's just the best net front presence in the league, hands down. And if he just continues to consistently go to the net, I think he's just going to get 40, just because of the fact that he's just going to be at the right places at the right time at even strength and the power play to bang in those garbage goals. And then obviously he's going to use his size, his speed, and his shot to get the other portion of his goals. So I can easily see 40. I think anything less than 35 would be a disappointment, but I could definitely see him getting 40. I'm going to say beer. I'm not sure about round, but definitely beer here for me.
I'm actually gonna go round again, and it's not a surprise. We know I'm carrying Chris Kreider's water, but I think I think he's found his game and found exactly what the Rangers wanted to be. He's not just a guy that's supposed to stand in front of the net like Adam Graves. He'll actually go off to the side of the net, and that's how he'll deflect pucks. He's excellent at getting rebounds. He had 10 goals in the playoffs as well. He's their power play cleanup guy. The only way, he scored 25 on the power play alone.
Now, I think he's probably good for 20 on the power play, and I think that's why he'll hit 40. So
now, if it was just solely deflections in front of the net, I would say, nah, he's not going to do it again. But and Steven, Statboy Steven, our friend of our show, brought this up. And he's one of the 5 players, I think it was, that scored his first 50 goal season after the age of 30. and nobody ever did it again.
Yep.
I do think he can get to 40 again. I think they utilize him the right way. He's fallen out of love with that wrist shot from beyond the dots. And when he was using that wrist shot, it was on the off wing. I kept promising everybody I was going to make the video showcasing all of his goals and everything. But I think it's you know who he is. Now, I will say this, Phil. If he scores, say, 35 goals, 20 on the power play, but Panarin and Zibanejad's goal totals go up to 40 each, like they were 2 years ago, is that really so bad?
No, because it's basically a wash. Well, actually, no. You're actually getting more goals at that point. Wow, Tage Thompson just scored a sick goal. Sorry,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm watching the preseason game between Buffalo and Carolina, but they honestly, you're getting all right. So if Mika goes back from what 28 that he had this year to 40,
29, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, 28 or 29 that he had this year, and then Panarin gets up to like 35. I would say that's a wash, or actually maybe a little more. But I mean, honestly, you want Chris Kreider to score at least 35. That's where you want him at this point. You want him at 35 or above. 50 is just, it seems like the outlier. Could he do it again? Sure, but I don't see it. But I mean, because I mean, really, the thing with me with Chris Kreider is that he was having a career year at a point where you usually don't find players having career years like you said before, like after the age of 30. And I mean, if you look at his shooting percentage, he's shot at 20.2%.
Yeah.
Now, that's the second. Actually, it's the fourth straight year in which his shooting percentage has risen. So he tied his career high in goals in 2019 with 28, and he shot 13.9%. Then the following year in 2020, he had 24 goals in only 63 games, shot 15.4%. I mean, it was established by that point that he was basically the best net front presence in the league. So he follows it up in 2021, the COVID shortened year, 20 goals in 50 games. He shot at 19.6%. And then this year, he took 258 shots, career high, shot at 20.2%. But here's the thing. A lot of, like, unlike an Alexander Ovechkin or, someone like that, Chris Kreider is not a volume shooter that takes shots from all over the place. He's a guy that takes shots from high danger locations, and his shots aren't always shots, they're deflections. And deflections usually have a greater chance of going in than, a regular just shot on net because of the obvious redirect. So with his usage and, with the way that Gallant's going to, employ him, I would say that Chris Kreider, he could realistically maybe hit 50 again. I think 40 is realistic. I can't say definitely that he'll hit 40. So
yeah,
he ended up with like 38 or something like that.
Well, don't worry, Chris. I believe in you. That really isn't worth that much, though. Going to another guy who's going to be a restricted free agent next year. Actually, two of them. K'Andre Miller is more critical to the New York Rangers this season than Filipino.
I'm buying around on this. I like I said before, I think K'Andre Miller is ready to take the next step to becoming a truly great defenseman. So I think that and not only that, but he's a top 4 defender as it is already. Your top 4 defenders have to be 4 of your most important players. So K'Andre Miller this is an easy round for me.
You know what? I got to go right there with you. It's an easy round. I am buying everybody right now because with him, I think the defense is less insulated. He's the one that's got to take the next step. If Hedl kind of struggles a little bit, he still has Trocheck. He still has Panarin. If he's playing on that line, he still has that third unit. It's not the end of the world. Miller, on the other hand, then you got to hope that Braden Schneider steps up, and then who knows what if he does, and then Miller falls backwards a little bit. I do think Miller is what's important when you're playing teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins, or later on when you're playing maybe who knows in the conference finals. I don't even know if Tampa's getting back there again. And let's say it's the Florida Panthers. They get they get their shit together and they go. I don't know. So it's because I still look at that division, Phil, and I think the Rangers are the ones that's going to come out when that bracket's done. Maybe not necessarily over there, but that's what, and because of guys like Keandre Miller.
I mean, I know you brought up Florida, and I don't know if I see them as good of a team this year. I think that
and you got good reason.
I think that I think when you lose arguably your best forward and your number 2 defenseman for a lesser forward. I mean, sure, he's younger and he's gritty, and I think he's built for the playoffs. But I just don't know how that helps their team. I really don't.
Yeah, and then Paul Maurice as a coach, good, maybe not great. We'll see about that one soon enough.
Been around for a while, very experienced, but hasn't really been able to get the job done.
Yeah. Actually, Phil, thanks for leading me right in. Speaking about somebody that just hasn't gotten the job done. Been good at times in spots, but not great. But Kaapo Kakko, 43 goals, 43 games, 7 goals, 11 assists, 2 goals, 3 assists in the playoffs. Kaapo Kakko will be a New York Ranger after the trade deadline.
I'm gonna say Beer just because I mean it is possible that they trade him if he doesn't produce. I'm hoping that he absolutely breaks out and just blows the doors off. But I mean, from what I've seen in the preseason so far, I like it, but I'm not over the moon about it. You know, he looks good, but you know what? I expected him to come in with a purpose, and I just haven't seen that as of yet. So
I think that's a good point, Phil. He does. I haven't seen that fire with him either. But then again, I do like the other things that I'm seeing. When I was playing in juniors and I wasn't getting much playing time for a little bit, I used to ask my coach. I'm like, Coach Fitzhenry, can I at least learn the PK because I'll get some ice time. And sure enough, he actually put me on the penalty killing for like about 10 games. But it's something that if you're not getting ice time, go to your coach, figure out how to get ice time. Kakko's playing the penalty kill right now in the preseason, and him and Lafreniere. Lafreniere had a short-handed goal against the Devils. You know what? That's how you stay on the ice. You just figure out a different role for yourself. I talked about it a couple years ago with the New York Mets, Dominic Smith, who said, I'll go play left field. And then he did. And then he was successful. It's just, you can't just sit there and pout on the bench. You have to get out there and get your coach's attention. And sometimes the best way to do that is to just be a different role. If he's not getting any power play time, which he may or may not, then it's time for you to say, I'll take the penalty kill. I'll do this. I'll go out in this situation. Just that's how you get their eyes. And, you know, maybe Gallant changes him around because Gallant's sort of like a forward whisperer because he did it with William Karlsson. He did it with Chris Kreider. So I got to go Beer as well because I think Kakko really, the Rangers really need him to. Because here's the other thing, Phil. At year's end, Patrick Kane is going to be a UFA. The New York Rangers will acquire Patrick Kane at the trade deadline. Okay, everybody, get your comments in.
I'm going to say Beer. I definitely think this is possible. I mean, prorated at the deadline. I think they'll have the space to do it, and then they'll have the assets to do it. And I think with Jim Dolan, you know, still not taking his hands fully off this team, I think there's going to be a want, especially after they got so close last year. They're going to want to do it, and I think they're going to find a way. I can absolutely see it happening, but you know, it depends on the price. And like if this man right here says it ends up being, I don't think I think they balk at that. I don't think they're giving up a Brendan Hoffman to go get Patrick Kane. I think he's going to be a key part of what they need to be able to do in the next few years with having entry-level talents come up and give production on entry level deals. So
I get nervous about it if, say, for instance, a Rangers rival is it just tries to get there and like they're on the cusp. Let's say it's the New York Islanders, because I'm trying to think of a team. The Columbus can't do it. Pittsburgh doesn't have the cap space. Maybe the Washington Capitals. That's an off chance, but I don't know what their assets are. So that leaves us
I
with
don't think
maybe
they have a great farm system, Washington. They really I don't see a lot of assets there that they can move to get somebody like Kane.
So that leaves us with, say, for instance, New York Islanders. Let's say they're in playoff positioning. Do the Rangers end up raising their price just to keep them away from the Islanders? And I would say go ahead, have them, because look, the Rangers are going to need guys like Lafreniere, Kakko, Ottman, because they have a lot of money they're paying out the next, 7 years. So it's they still got to get to 2024 before they can think about moving Chris Kreider or Jacob Trouba.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is a lot to ask. And I know it's saying, oh, you get Patrick Kane, who cares? I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what they're gonna have to, as I hit my mic as usual. I don't know what the asking price is gonna be. I don't know what the effect in the locker room is gonna be, because let's say Alexei Lafreniere is performing well, but not good enough at a Stanley Cup level. Does getting Patrick Kane knock him back a little bit? Does that mean you have to send out a Kakko? It's gonna take. People were speculating. It's like, oh, we'll send Kratzoff and 2 first rounders this year. That's not the answer either, because the Rangers are going to need to make sure that cupboard is restocked. So there you go with that. Phil, guys, girls love a man that's well groomed. So check out Manscaped and their family of products. They have you covered from head to toe, from the lawnmower to the weed whacker, because you don't want to look like a fuzzball. Go to manscaped.com, put in promo code BAH for Big Apple Hockey to get 20% off and free shipping. If you like that video, we got a lot more. So check out any of these that are right over here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.